I've always been a huge Buddy Holly fan. He's been one of my central influences going all the way back to the beginning of Tiger Army and before. My dad gave me a Buddy Holly cassette, but he saw him as a kid live and was always a fan, and he shared Buddy's music with me. I'd always thought of Buddy Holly as a Texas guy, and I thought of, from touring, I think of Texas as Central Texas. I learned more about West Texas, where you rarely play, or where I've rarely played. And then it's right next to New Mexico, where he recorded some of his greatest work at Norman Petty's studio. When I went into Norman Petty's studio, there was definitely an energy there. To me, being close to things that I love that have to do with music, whether it's seeing a guitar or an amp that somebody I played, or seeing things that were used on records, seeing places where records I love were made. It's basically like a religious experience to me. I think people in general have a tendency to think of the 1950s as kitschy, and to think of the music as lightweight or not having substance. But Buddy Holly in particular was such a huge influence on so many artists. He really was the leader of the first rock and roll band. He's in the Ramones music, and the Ramones are in my music, so the whole dynamic of Tiger Army, which involves early rock and roll and early punk, that owes a lot to Buddy Holly. Tiger Army records have always been about maintaining a connection with the original sound and then trying to push forward and advance a little bit at the same time as well. One of the few traditions that runs through every Tiger Army record is that there's a country influence song. The song Train to Eternity was really fun to record. The drummer Mitch Marine, who plays with Dwight Yoakam and has played for a lot of other people, he's a great player because he has the roots music chops, but he also kind of has a rock background, so things that a lot of roots guys don't have, like the ability to play hard, to play loudly, to play aggressively, that is natural to him. The bass player on this record, the stand-up bass player, is a guy named Dave Rowe, and he's basically kind of known as one of the best session bass players in Nashville, and he toured and recorded with Johnny Cash for many years. When we were doing Train to Eternity, he's like, "So I know the notes, what do you want bass line wise?" And I said, "This one would just be kind of a two-note, country thing." And he said, so like a Johnny Cash thing. And it was kind of funny because you could take that as, yes, that's the bass reference that any bass player could say for that song, or you could take it to me and say, you want me to do what I do and what I did with Johnny Cash for so many years. That's one of my favorite rhythm section moments on the record because those guys just nailed that so well. A lot of people travel for work. A lot of people travel for a vacation. And for me, this trip was something else entirely. It was really an attempt to feel things, and it worked in that sense. I felt freedom, joy, elation at times, just driving down the open road, away from the modern world, no other humans around, seeing cactus flowers, seeing sunsets, sort of being at one with nature, the way the clouds float in the sky. There's a sense of never knowing what's around the next corner. There were times when it's draining because you're away from home, you're on the road, living out of a suitcase, you're driving, and then you turn a corner and you discover something that you didn't think could still exist, whether that's an emotion or whether it's a place. And you feel inspired.